How can I know God's will for my life? This is a very important question, that we would know God's will. When I was just a little girl, and I was traveling with my parents, T.L. and Daisy Osborn, we were going to nations all over the world with the gospel of Jesus. I had a very tender heart toward the Lord, and I really desired to do His will. And at that time, in the late 40s, early, mid-50s, there was a lot of teaching going around about knowing God's will. And there was a lot of confusion in my heart based on the teachings I was hearing in the broader Christian community. And the confusion was really based on the scripture in Romans 12, verse 2, that talks about you being able to prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. And so as a little girl, I was frightened. I wondered, how will I know the difference? How will I know what is God's good or His acceptable or His perfect will? I don't want to do the good if the acceptable is better, and so on. So this question tormented me. One night I asked my mother, who was a very wise woman, I asked her, Mother, how will I know God's will for my life? And she answered with these words, and I'm giving them to you exactly as she spoke them to me. She said, LaDonna, if you really want to know God's will, and only you and God know for sure, then what you want to do is His will. Now that was a very simple answer, but I want you to know that it gave my little heart such peace. And that confusion was lifted because I knew in my heart I wanted to please God. I was not harboring any kind of evil or conspiracy against doing God's will. No, I was sincere in my desire to please God, and I knew He knew it. And my mother's words assured me that if you really want, you will want to do His will. And my friend, I pass that counsel on to you because it is true. When you give your life to Jesus Christ, you give your will to Him. You accept His life, you accept His will, you accept His emotions, you accept His purpose, you accept His priorities, you accept Him and all that He is. And so only the enemy would try to torment you and make you wonder if your heart is really wanting to please God. Trust that if you want to please Him, that's His desire at work in you, and you're all right. He's with you, and your life will fulfill His will. How blessed to live a life of fulfillment in God's work.